So we left off trying to analyze, rewrite this paragraph here. So the first person is not allowed, so that's what we're trying to fix up here. The first procedure was the cult control group. First, a beaker was filled with room temperature water, and so let's just say I don't know, let's say 8 ounces, but ounces isn't really, that sounds like a lot actually. It might be okay. Let's go ounces to milliliter. I'm just going to quickly look for a conversion. Um, so 8 ounces, and you do want to do about the same amount each time. 8 ounces is about 236 milliliters. So we'll just say, we'll do a little less. We'll just say 200 milliliters.
Right.
All right. First, a beaker is filled with room temperature. So we want to say filled with 200 milliliters of room temperature water. Then, comma, the temperature was measured and recorded, period. The temperature of the water. Temperature of the water was measured and recorded. Okay. Next, a single Alka-Seltzer tablet was placed into the beaker until it was fully dissolved. The time was then recorded. These steps were repeated a second time. Does that accurately describe what you did or will do?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I think so.
good, good, good. All right. So I'm just gonna do a little formatting thing here because this is important. All right. So now what we're going to do is actually, and I know this doesn't go here, but we're going to put the data table in right here, and then we can fix it later. But you're gonna do trial. So trial 1, trial 2, and this is the time it takes to dissolve. And probably do it in seconds. Okay, is that okay? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. So that's my understanding of procedure 1. All right, so the second procedure. Now the difference between the first procedure and the second procedure, based on what I read, is that in the second procedure, you're going to use temperature to uh, to determine the reaction rate. So the second procedure uh, uses or looks at temperature and reaction rate. All right. So the steps here, there's a few more steps. Temperatures above room temperature. Okay, so let me grab. Going to grab these steps here so we can kind of look at them together. All right, there's a lot here. All right, it says fill one beaker about half full of hot water from the tap. Okay, so hot water here, and anytime it's got to look down, but it's this very hot water from the tap. So like, can you imagine what the difference is between hot and very hot, like from your tap when you go to the sink?
Um, yeah, hot is just like it's a nice warm feeling, but very hot. You have to remove your finger or like your
Exactly,
hand because it's
exactly.
gonna burn you.
Yes, exactly. And that's what this says here. So the the procedure for number one here is basically the same as what we just said, except you have to change a few words.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let
So,
me
so
paraphrase.
which word needs to be changed here?
Hmm.
What's the only difference between these steps and the first ones? It's not even the steps, it's just one word.
Oh, you put 200 milliliters.
Nope. What's the
Oh,
difference
hot
here in,
water. Hot
yes.
water.
So what should change in this procedure down here?
Hot water.
Okay. Hot water. Okay. And actually, one thing we did not put a note of in this previous one is we didn't actually record the temperature. Um, So I think that's what the teacher will want here. We're gonna have to actually add a column here. Insert, and the temperature might vary slightly. So we want to record the temperature. Um, I guess we can do it in, do you think you can do it in Celsius?
Yeah, I
That
can
would be
try.
preferred. That that'd be preferred if you can.
Yeah, we use
Okay.
Fahrenheit here in America, right?
Yeah, but in science you tend to use Celsius. So all
Yeah.
right, now uh first, a beaker was filled with 200 milliliters of hot water. Then the temperature of the water was measured and recorded. Next, a single Alka-Seltzer tab was placed in the beaker until it was fully dissolved. Then the time is recorded. So 3 and 4. This is your three and fourth trials. Okay. And I like we're gonna move this data at the end, but this is a good way for you to fill out. You can sort of see like where you're filling it out and why. All right. Then what are you doing? Well, how are these steps different than what we just said? What is the only difference about these new steps here?
The only difference is that I don't know actually. Mm.
We'll take a look. I mean, this is not meant to be. There's just again one small difference.
One small difference. Well, they're repeating the steps now 6 to 9 times instead of it one. Is that
No,
the difference?
no, no. What's the difference between the first procedure and the second procedure?
Oh, the first procedure we used hot water.
No, the first procedure is room temperature water.
Oh yeah, my bad.
What about in the second procedure? What's the difference between the first and the second procedure
It's hot water.
versus room temperature water? Okay, what does step one say in the third
Very
procedure?
hot water. So like
Okay,
super duper hot.
All right, so the third procedure looks again, temperature and reaction, very hot water, okay? And then you're going to record that information. Okay, so can you visualize right now that you have potentially three beakers going? I mean, if you have, or three cups, you know, you could have three cups going or three coffee mugs going. And you don't have to do 200 milliliters. You can do less. Um, you need enough water. Like the packet will tell you like, you know, 4 ounces of water or something like that, but you have to have enough water for sure.
Got it.
Okay. Now, what is different? Let me grab this next one here and forget about the repeat. What is different about this section?
What is different? This time I want cold water,
Okay.
ice
But more
water.
than ice water, yeah. So um I want you to modify this. I'm going to put this into the chat so you've got it. But I want you to modify this that I put in there.
All right. So you want me to modify the one with from the sentence that you sent me in the chat, just to like make it sound correct? Like,
I want you to modify the first sentence to reflect what's going on in the new description here with
gotcha.
or maybe you need to add another, you know, maybe you need to add another sentence or two.
Okay. Okay, I just changed it from hot water to ice water, and I think that's all I can do.
Okay, that's fine.
So yeah.
All right, so the third procedure also again, so this will be the fourth procedure. Put that down here. Okay, and then we're going to, so I actually don't think this is what they want now that because they call it procedure two, procedure one. Um, we might even want to like header that procedure one, maybe just say control group, and then uh, go like this. Now, we won't do this next one. The way to actually proceed here is to say, then for both for warm, very warm, or hot, sorry, hot. Then for hot, very hot, and ice cold water, the steps were repeated. So you don't have to actually like do like we did. It gets kind of, it gets to be too much, right? Like, 'cause
Mm-hmm.
we're basically saying the same thing over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
So if we look here, this would end up being 8 trials. We can say that. We can say that up here. Then for hot, the steps are repeated for a total of 8 trials. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll actually just end up adding to this. We'll just start adding rows here to this table. 1, 2, 1 more. All right. So we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you know you want to record the temperature, but this is for your room temperature, hot, hot, very hot, very hot, ice cold, ice cold, like that. So I'm going to remove the rest of this, and then we'll go to procedure. Sorry, I misspoke here. Sorry about that. Let me backtrack. Um, so procedure 2 is for these. Procedure 2 is the temperature group. All right. And we can say this is actually 6 trials. And then we can actually copy this up here. This will make more sense when I'm done. All right, so we don't need these 2 because we're going to already have them. Um, so the temperature group, you're doing the same thing as you did in procedure 1.
Right.
We're repeated for a total of 6 trials. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to fill it. You can see how you're going to fill this in. All right. Now we can get to procedure 3. All right. And this is the surface area group. Yeah. So let's take a look at these steps and let's see what's, the same or different as what we were doing before. So it says fill a beaker with room temperature water. So that's the same as before. Uh, but then you do it for much smaller pieces. Okay, so this is not broken up well. Here's kind of it's 4 smaller pieces, then it's smaller and smaller pieces, and then it's crushing the tablet.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want you to have a second trial. They want to have a second um, trial of each. So let's go back and grab our so this time you're going to say you're going to instead of say next uh, placing a single tablet of Alka-Seltzer, there's a sentence before that that you have to add that says we'll just say next and then but you want to say something like break the tablet into 4 smaller pieces.
All right.
Sorry, that was my
No, it's okay.
finger slipped there on the. Then break the tablet into 4 smaller pieces. Actually, we should say what it is. Then it's got to be past tense. The Alka-Seltzer tablet was broken into 4 smaller pieces. All right, was broken into 4 smaller pieces and placed into the beaker until it was fully dissolved. All right, so then you're going to repeat a second time. All right, so then you can basically then you can add like a sentence like this we had up here. You can say, then break the tablet into smaller pieces and then and secondly into even smaller pieces following and repeat for a total of 4 trials. So this time around, I think it does want, I don't, your temperature isn't as important. This is like the size of the pieces. So this is the 4, the 4, the smaller. So I would think of it as like 8 pieces. I mean, I don't know if that helps. Like it just means, and then, 16. But the size, the number of pieces doesn't matter. It's the size. It's the fact that it's getting broken up into smaller and smaller pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So for the surface area group, you're going to break it up into 4 pieces and then record the time. You're always recording the time. Then it just says smaller pieces. Like it doesn't have to be 8. So you can just think of this as smaller and then even smaller. Is that
Got
okay?
it. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. And that covers these steps. We got those done. So now if we go back to the next one, this is going to be the most complicated. So we have procedure 4, IV. This is the concentration group. Okay. It says to crush 6 tablets into very small pieces. Divide the crushed tablets into 2 equal parts. Keep one part by itself and divide the other part again into 2 equal parts. Okay, now it's a quarter. An eighth. Okay. And so on and so on here. Okay. Call it sample 4. You should have 4 different amounts of crushed Alka-Seltzer tablets. Each larger amount is twice as large as the smaller one. Fill the beaker room temperature water. Sample 1, record, measure the time. Same amount of water, same amount of water. Okay, and so on and so on. All right. So the big thing here in concentration group 4 or concentration group procedure 4 is that, and we actually need the table. Excuse me. Do they want you to do this twice? Yeah, they do. Oh, boy. Okay. All right. So this is the quantity. Um, not really the quantity. Okay. All right. So we're going to call this one whole, one whole, one half, one half, one quarter, one quarter, one eighth, one eighth. Okay. So let's read through these steps. So you're going to take 6 tablets and you're going to crush them. Not crush them, sorry. You're not going to crush them. That would just small pieces. Just small pieces. Then you're going to divide them into 2 equal parts. Okay, so the it, it's like we almost need like a picture here. 2 equal parts. Then we're going to divide it again. Then we're going to divide it again. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to give you a visual for this. 16. Wow. Just twice. Let me see. Can I fill this table? No, I cannot. All right. All right. I'm doing something in another screen to try to help you visualize this.
Okay.
So give me just a moment. Um, um, I probably should have asked if this was clear, but I'm assuming it's not. So let me try to do that. All right. Actually, I should number these. That will also help. That will help. Maybe not. Okay. Um, so in orange, there are 16 rectangles in orange.
Okay.
I don't know if you need me to number these, but I'm going to.
Yeah, just number them.
And what this represents is this represents the 6 crushed tablets. Okay.
All right.
So when it says down here is to, when it says to divide the crushed tablets into 2 equal parts, 1 through 8 are there. Like the orange is the 6 crushed tablets. So I'll show you that in orange. And then you take half and put them there. So how many are left over? The other 8. Do you see that?
Yes.
So the next thing is you've got 8 left over. You're going to cut those in half. And that's going to be 9, 10, 11, and 12. So what's remaining, which isn't used up, is the 13, 14, 15, and 16. That's 13 and 14 and 15. So this second half is divided in half again. Then you divide it in half again and half again. So you're gonna have one little piece that's left over.
Got it.
And so these each represent the samples. So let me add some headers to this. Start sample 1, sample 2, sample 3, stop. That's not good. All right. Is it clear what you're doing then?
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard until you get into it. Like you'll have questions when you. All right, so I'm just cleaning this up on the other screen so that you can see what's going on. And then you do have one that's you have like a, so it'd be ideal if you could break it up into 16 pieces. I don't know if you'll be able to. Seems like seems like 4 tablets would lend itself better to that, but basically you're cutting it in half again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think I've got this here in a more manageable situation. All right, so I'm going to remove what was there. Okay, this is what this one is a league table. Right. So this is the better picture. You know, your sample 1 is half of the original. Sample 2 is half of the of what's left over. Sample 3 is half of what's half of left over, and so on. Hopefully, and there will be a little bit left over on the end. So that's the first part, and then you're going to room temperature, drop in the beaker, record, and repeat. That's what the rest of this says. And so you're going to fill in this table up here, but in terms of the actual steps, okay, um, we're going to um, we need to add a sentence here that talks about breaking up the pieces into the quantities. You know that this is actually wrong. This is actually we need to move all this up because the last one is a 16th. So could you try to put together a sentence that describes this, like taking the 6 tablets, crushing them into many small pieces, and then cutting it in half, then cutting it in half, then cutting it in half, then cutting it in half.
Got it. Eesh, this lab is gonna be one of the most challenging ones because we have to use so many tablets.
Yes, a lot of tablets in play here.
Yup. I have like a little bit of a better understanding now. Um, do I need to rewrite something again? Because I kind of don't remember.
Well, I'm doing the bulk of the work here, so tell me what you do remember.
Um, I remember the chart and how I have to with the that I have to be using small amounts and everything with the room temperature water, the cold one, and all of that.
That's not what this procedure is about.
Yeah,
Okay, so why did I, what do you understand about this picture that I put in front of you?
that I have to crush some of them into very small pieces with the different amounts of water.
Okay, so the step from the lab say to crush 6 tablets into many small pieces.
Yes.
That is shown in orange here.
Mm-hmm.
Then it says to divide the crushed tablets into 2 equal parts.
All right.
Keep one part by itself and call it sample one. That's the 1 through 8.
Okay.
So what is not used up?
What is not used up? It says the leftover is 16, but
Right?
you're talking through sample 1 through 8. Um, anything after 8 is not used up.
9 through 16 is like not part of sample one. So nine
Yeah,
through 16 goes into sample two, but only half of it. It gets cut in half.
right.
That's what it says here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says to do it again and again. What I'm asking for is a sentence, just 1 or 2 sentences that describes these steps, what we just talked about,
All right.
to go in here. Um, kind of that says, okay, we're going to break up the break up the tablets into these different samples.
Got it. All right. Can you scroll down to the chart, please?
Sure.
Thank you. So one or two sentences, just making sure about the chart, right? Just making sure.
Just giving me some indication that you understand what you're supposed to do.
Okay, got it. Here's what I wrote. I think it's okay, but I know it could be better. I just want you to like to look at it.
I think you're you're looking at the numbers here. The numbers are meant to just represent like something that divides in half. It says 6 tablets. I mean, I think I don't think it'd be a good idea to say 8. Um, you're not, there's no place do you say cutting in half in what you wrote. And that's a pretty big part of this.
All right. Let
So
me
why don't you
just
give that another
read.
try, please?
Okay. I guess I think the issue with the writing is that I'm just looking at the numbers instead of thinking of something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, sometimes it's a lot to ask. It's early, it's a lot to ask here. Tell me where you're at on that other lab. Do you have everything you need to do you said lab 6, I think it was,
Yeah.
with the,
Today I
nice.
just because last week I wanted to take the photos, but then I went to California, so today I'm
Right,
gonna do
right.
it, make sure it's in lab format, and then submit it.
Okay. So you've actually done the lab though, or not? It's okay if you
Yeah,
haven't. I'm
kind
just
of.
asking.
Kind of.
It's not a kind of either you have or you have not. It doesn't matter to me. Like I'm not,
Not yet. Today
okay.
I
So
didn't have time last week.
what I'm going to suggest is doing that lab,
Mm-hmm.
because there was like a table that's needed uh, where you graph the data, I believe. Setting this aside, and we'll revisit it next week.
Okay.
It feels like it can be overwhelming. You also mentioned you need to finish a book, The
Yeah, The
Signing.
Shining.
I don't know how close you are to finishing that, but that's going to take higher precedence than this. And after, so let's just say you can do all that before we meet again. The next thing here is where you have filled in the data. So between whatever our first meeting is next week and the second meeting, you'll want to fill in the data. And so we have some time is the point. You don't have to get this perfect right now. Um, so I would recommend focusing in on getting that other lab done.
Okay.
All right. And then where do we stand in some of the other classes? Let's go take a look here. Um,
College readiness, that's something that I can do by myself because I know what I'm supposed to do in this class.
I'm
English is okay.
right, right. I'm talking about the physical science and the English. I mean, I think
Oh,
I think there's a couple of assignments to still submit. Maybe just taking some time here to get caught up on all that would be good for you. Um,
gotcha.
there's we're in physical science, we're probably a quarter of the way through. In your English class, kind of the same way. So I don't know what the expectation is, but I think you're doing real well. But just keep it going. We'll definitely want to spend some time in the narrative essay next week
All right.
to get caught up on English. But does look like we're a little bit further ahead in English, but I think we did skip I don't know. I think we did skip 7, so it's something to think about. Um, we're almost done with chemistry. It probably feels like it, but there is a couple more chemistry lessons. Then you move into physics for the rest of it, and physics will be more like math.
Can't wait, man. Love math.
All right. Well, we're gonna stop there for today.